G'day cocktail lovers and welcome to the Cocktail Dough,
where we bring you all the excitement of big league cocktail making.
I'm your host Chuck Carrots. With me as always is my co-host Archbishop.
Thanks Chuck, and today in the dough, Mr. Angry has promised to bring us a fresh take on a classic.
Well Arch, I love the classics and I love exploring ways to freshen them up. So let's get to the man himself. Mr. Angry, what do you got for us today?
Thanks, Chuck and Arch. Today's cocktail is inspired by an article I saw on the Punch Drink website. It was about Jim Meehan. Now, Jim Meehan is a pioneer of the modern cocktail renaissance. He's been so influential over the last 20 or so years, and he spent quite a bit of time reinventing an early 20th century classic called the Rose. Now, over the last century, a lot of completely different drinks have gone by the name the Rose. Some of the recipes had vermouth, but not all. Some had gin, some had a fruit syrup, and some had some version of Eau de Bee.
The water of life.
Side note, Chuck, it's interesting how many spirits have been called the water of life in different countries, different languages. Besides Eau de Bee, you get aquavite, aquavit. Even vodka's derived from the Russian for water.
And let's not forget whiskey, which comes from the original Gaelic name, Whiskey Baha.
When you look at all those variations, it certainly is a widely used name. And that's inspired one of the ingredients I'm going to use. It's a honey spirit from the Archie Rose distillery, which they make from the honey from hives on their distillery roof. And it's got the cheeky little pun in the name, it's Eau de Bee, which I guess is water of bees? That seems fitting. And another ingredient I'm going to be using was inspired by the Punch Drink article on Jim Meehan. In his research, he found the original recipe had sirop de groiselle in French, which is red currant syrup. And he finally sourced one and he was very excited. I actually have a groiselle liqueur. That's from local distiller Marionette, who make a bunch of great liqueurs, so I will be using that in the recipe as well. First up is the Eau de Bee, and we will be using 1 ounce or 30 mils. This is a stirred cocktail, so we'll get our stirring glass out and add 30 mils of the Eau de Bee. I'm staying with the Archie Rose Distillery and using their citrus forward gin they call Sunrise Lime, and it'll be the same amount, adding 1 ounce or 30 mils of gin to our glass. I'm also going to add some dry vermouth. I'm using this Unico Pomelo vermouth, and it will be once more 1 ounce or 30 mils of vermouth going in our glass. This is the groiselle or red currant liqueur from Marionette, and I will be adding 10 mils, around 1/3 of an ounce of the liqueur to our glass. As a final touch, I'm adding about a barspoon, around 5 mils of cherry syrup to the glass. I've taken that straight from a jar of maraschino cherries. We add ice to our glass and we want to stir that for about 25 seconds to get it nicely chilled and a bit of dilution happening. We strain that into a martini glass, no garnish, we serve it up. Here is our version of the Rose.
Well, what are we calling this, Mr. Angry?
I'm going with my friend Daniel's suggestion. A rose by any other name would be as sweet. But for ease of reference, maybe we'll just call it a rose by any other name.
Well, that works. Let's see how it tastes.
Oh, I like that. It's like a fruity martini.
Oh yeah, but not over the top sweet like those 80s and 90s drinks that had martini in their name.
Yeah, and of course you can adjust any of the components up or down to suit your taste.
Which is exactly what people do. All those versions of the Rose over the year, Jim Meehan alone having 4 major versions.
Yes, Arch, the classics are classics for a reason, but you should never be scared to explore variations because life's too short to waste time on boring cocktails. Cheers!